Well, it's a very warm welcome back to a second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at Villa Park. We are just about to get underway. We are now underway for the second half. Aston Villa leading Brentford by a goal to nil. The goal scored by Ollie Watkins towards the end of the first half on 39 minutes to be precise. And really it's a deserved scoreline when you consider that Aston Villa had so much more of the ball going forward, and they're already going forward inside the first 15 seconds. A ball from the right-hand side does reach Watkins inside the penalty area. He turns away from Aya, tries to find a teammate with a pass, but Brentford just about clear their lines, at least to the edge of the box. But Villa perhaps showing some intent inside the first 30 seconds of the second half, and straight away pushing into the box again. It's with Morgan Rogers, drops a shoulder and goes for goal, and it's 2-0 to Aston Villa inside 30 seconds of the second half. It's all far too easy. Rogers starts on the right, puts it on his left, drills it low, and I've not even had a chance to introduce my colleague for this second half, and Villa lead 2-0 already. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Steve Pearson taking you through the action.
Well, I was just about to say, Paul, I was wondering what Brentford would come out with in this second half, how they might change it, how they might do something different. And as that attack started to unfold, it's more of the same, because Visser and Mbeumo deep inside their own half again, everything congested in. But this time, Rogers finds some space. As you say, pulls away from those two central defenders, finds a little bit of room, just flicks it inside one of them, and then just hooks it in with the left foot into the other. And the closing down isn't quick enough. It's pretty weak for me from Zanka on the edge of the penalty area. It's not exactly great defending either from Aya to the left of him, and Flecken's got no chance at all. And as we said, what would be different? The answer at the moment is nothing from a Brentford point of view. They've conceded a soft goal, and Unai Emery will be absolutely delighted. His side have come out, not had to do anything different, kept it the same, scored a second.
So he's barely even had time to get into his seat or into his position at the Villa dugout, in his side already have a second goal. So just to remind you, the two teams: Emiliano Martinez in goal for Villa, a back four of Ezri Konsa, Diego Carlos, Pau Torres and Luca Digne. Three in midfield: Yuri Tillemans, John McGinn and Douglas Luiz, with Leon Bailey, Morgan Rogers and Ollie Watkins as the attacking three for Brentford. Mark Flekken is in goal, a back three of Zanka Jorgensen, Christopher Aya and Nathan Collins. Mads Rosleff and Sergio Regulion are the two wide men, with Mikel Damsgaard, Vitaly Jano and Matthias Jensen as the three in midfield. Bryan Mbeumo and Johan Wissa are the two up front. Ollie Watkins then on the halfway line for Villa, rolls the ball towards Konsa on the right hand side, and here is Bailey getting towards the edge of the penalty area. He wants it on that trusty left foot, has to go back towards the halfway line, though it wasn't a particularly good ball to Tillemans, but Villa still keep it alive here now. It's with Douglas Luiz, goes square to Pau Torres. Torres just holding this one up. Things just slowing down here for Villa. Just to tell you as well that it's still half-time between Fulham and Newcastle. All the other Premier League games have now resumed for the second half. So we're so far the only ones to have seen a goal in the second half, with Villa getting on the score sheet inside 30 seconds. It's now down the left again here with Pau Torres. Pings the ball over the top, looking for the run of Digne, but that's just a bit too close to Flekken. And Brentford now going to have a plan B. If Thomas Frank's plan was to try and keep Villa quiet for the first few minutes and then try and ease themselves into the game, that plan's gone out the window. They're going to have to do something a little bit more drastic now.
Well, they are, but the couple of minutes since the goal, Paul, it's been more of the same, hasn't it, really? They're sitting in deep, they're inviting Villa in that sense, in terms of pressure, and therefore the press is really high inside the Brentford half, and they can't get away quickly. And then further forward, they've got players dropping in deep, although finally they've got some space on the left-hand side. Yeah,
it was Collins that played a ball down the left here for Regulion, and he gets to the edge of the area, finds Wissa. Wissa then playing a ball into Rosleff. It's easily cut out, though, by Luca Digne. And then Rogers with the ball forward. It wasn't cut out in midfield here by Jano, and this ball does reach John McGinn, and he sends a diagonal ball over towards Bailey. It's a really good ball as well, controlled by Bailey. Breaks into the box, puts it onto his right foot. He wants to cut it across to Watkins, but it's just too close to Mark Flekken, who dives on it and makes the save.
Yeah, he does, and there's a bit of words with Watkins afterwards. The two of them were battling for supremacy of the ball at the near post, as Bailey put it across, because it wasn't fully in the hands of the keeper, although actually it probably was by the time that Watkins put a toe end in to try and prod it away from the Brentford keeper. But again, the space is there. But from a Brentford point of view, as you said, when they attacked on that last occasion, there was a good opportunity. The final ball wasn't perhaps the best one round the back, and Lucas Digne was there to make the challenge. But again, there's another potential opportunity there for Brentford, but at the moment, they cannot sit as deep as they have been doing. It doesn't look like Mbeumo and Visser are in that kind of scenario now. It doesn't look like they've pushed a little further forward. And of course, from a Villa point of view, they're pushing McGinn up through those central positions now to make a three kind of further forward to make that initial press on this Brentford side and make it difficult for the Bees to get out of their own half.
And it's working because, as I say, Brentford have exchanged about 10 passes and they're having to go back towards Mark Flekken now. It was a loose ball from Damsgaard in midfield that almost cost Brentford, but they start again at the edge of their own box. Aya now brings it down the right-hand side, finds Zanka Jorgensen. His long ball towards the edge of the area, easily cut out by Pau Torres. And out for a throw to Brentford, albeit around 40 yards out from goal here on the right-hand side. Roslev, I think, will be taking this one. Probably a bit too far for Matthias Jensen to use his long throw. Goes back to the throw here from Zanka Jorgensen into Damsgaard. Back to Jorgensen. Now it's with Mbeumo just trying to turn away. Couldn't quite keep the ball, though, for Brentford. And McGinn now plays it back to Tielemans, and all of a sudden it could open up for Villa here. Bailey might have been caught there as he was trying to play out from the back. I certainly thought that Konza definitely was caught there by Johan Wissa, but the referee played a very brief advantage. Brentford have the ball, and now it's going to be a free kick to the Bees down the right-hand side as Mbeumo is brought down there by Pau Torres. I don't think the referee was ever considering a booking there for Pau Torres, but it will be a free kick for Brentford, a chance to cross the ball in.
Yeah, it's well played by Mbeumo, isn't it? He knows the challenge is going to come in from Pau Torres, just leaves the leg in, makes sure there's contact, because he knows he's not really going anywhere except towards the corner flag with that ball down the right-hand side. There wasn't too much options in the centre, and finally a set-piece opportunity in the attacking third of the field as far as Brentford are concerned. And you kind of feel that they've got to, not quite at the stage where they've got to get something out of this, but at least something that makes Martinez work to give them a little bit of hope that there is a way back into this game.
Absolutely, yeah. They're just to give them a little bit of a glimmer that they can actually create something in front of Villa's goal. Right-footed Jensen and left-footed Mbeumo are standing over this one. And Villa pretty much just behind the penalty spot, in between the penalty spot and the 6-yard box in terms of their offside line. We'll see just how Brentford want to take this one. It's going to be Jensen's right-footed ball in. I think he's taken a deflection off the one-man wall. In fact, no, it hasn't. It's just Jensen lifting that one way over everybody and out for a throw. It's a terrible free kick, really.
It's a bizarre free kick, isn't it, in that context? Because, as you said, you looked at it in the first half with Villa over hitting some balls into the area, particularly from good positions a couple of times from set pieces. And on that occasion, it was just massively overhit. Wasn't even near anybody in the light blue shirts of Brentford in the centre, and just fades away to nothing, really, much to the frustration of those in the middle.
Absolutely, all those players waiting for some sort of cross, and eventually it just goes out for a throw, and then Villa are playing out from the back, and they're going to win themselves a free kick here as well for a bit of a reckless challenge there. It looks like it was Sergio Regulion who left a foot in, just trying to stop a Villa move playing out from the back. Referee Michael Salisbury is in no doubts there. That's going to be the second Brentford man in the book this afternoon. McGinn got away from Regulion. Well, in fact, this was the one I think that the referee allowed to go on. It was Wissa that went into the side of McGinn. But in fact, no, it is going to be Johan Wissa that picks up the yellow card. So it must have just been a delayed booking, because I don't think it was Wissa's foul that led to that most recent free kick.
Well, I'm not sure which one the referee actually pulled it through. It could have been a yellow card for either, couldn't it? One for a bit of pulling back and one for the late challenge from Wissa when there was no real attempt to play the ball. To some extent, he was just playing the man. So either way, I think the referee was going to get the yellow card out for one or the other. He went for the second one for Wissa, I think.
Oh, Brentford have won the ball back here in midfield, and it's ball down the right-hand side now towards Mbeumo. That's a terrible cross from Bryan Mbeumo. Absolutely unacceptable that he's a left footer crossing from the right-hand side. Put some whip into the ball. What he's done is he's played a flat cross towards the near post, and the three Brentford players charging into the box to try and get on the end of it. Had no chance of getting on the end of that one, and it's an easy save for Martinez.
No, I mean, he got players on the edge of the area who were kind of sitting in, waiting for a little ball inside. He got one player making a run into the box in that far post position, and as you said, just gets not enough on it again, and it's a disappointing end. In his defence, the only thing you would say is he may well have expected somebody to make that run across the near post, but they didn't. Now we've seen a bad mistake from Janelt to the back.
It goes from bad to worse for Brentford there. Vitaly Janelt was 25 yards out from goal, and he sends a really pacey, sort of flighted ball back towards Flekken. Flekken moved towards it, then realises I've got no chance of doing anything with that, and it just goes out for a corner kick. So a really poor giveaway of possession from Brentford there, and now a gift of a set piece here for Aston Villa as well. And as I say, Brentford need to try and get themselves into gear as quickly as possible. It's going to be John McGinn to take the free kick. We've got a goal at Kenilworth Road. It's Luton 0, Bournemouth 1. Luton going into a bad run of form at the worst possible time, but it's a ball whipped in it by McGinn, and Flekken can only get an arm on it, and he was being pushed as he was trying to get that one arm on it. The referee confirming a free kick to Brentford. So just to run you through the scores very quickly, Villa 2, Brentford 0, Everton 1, Burnley 0. It's goalless between Fulham and Newcastle. It's now Luton 0, Bournemouth 1. And the goal scorer for Bournemouth is Marcus Tavernier. Justin Cliver with the assist. Wolves still leading against West Ham by a goal to win the earlier game. It was Palace 2, Palace 2, Manchester City 4, and Brighton against Arsenal to come in just over an hour's time. The 5:30 kickoff. As Johan Wissa giving a free kick away, they're trying to win the ball back of Ezri Konsa, but it's just not happening for Brentford in this game.
There's no spark, is there? It's very flat. They played well the first half an hour in the sense of a defensive pattern they wanted to play. There was a couple of half opportunities. You thought, okay, yeah, there's potentially something on the break here for Brentford. But since that half an hour mark, and certainly since conceding the goal, they've gone back into their shells. They're still sitting in deep. There is no outlet for Brentford at the moment, and it's almost like damage limitation. I don't quite understand this from Thomas Frank. I think it's got to change in the next 5 minutes.
Well, it does, otherwise it's going to be more of the same, and at some point Villa will get a third and a fourth, and Brentford won the ball back at the edge of their own box. Villa wanted a free kick, the referee says no. Brentford then give the ball away again before eventually it's cleared towards the halfway line, and Martinez and Diego Carlos are the last two back, just as we keep an eye on things in the Championship as well. It's now Coventry 2, Leeds United 0. And with Leicester City only drawing against Birmingham and Ipswich losing, wouldn't you believe it that potentially all three of the top three in the Championship might not get a win today?
Yeah, it's a strange old division, the Championship, isn't it? As we well know, it twists and turns. Don't ever bet on the Championship. find another league. It's too bizarre. It's too strange.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a very fair shout that every week you're going to get surprises, and as I say, even in terms of the top six and the bottom three, and then the sides just above them, there's still so many things that can happen, so many variables in the last 4 or 5 games of the season. But back here at Villa Park, Sergio Regulion brings the ball out for Brentford down the left. Wissa does well to skip away from Konsa. He's into the box. He puts a cross in there. Looked like there was a bit more to that one. There was Mbeumo and Roeslef waiting in the box. But ahead of them was the big frame of Diego Carlos, and he heads it out for a Brentford corner. Yeah,
and as you say, from Vissa's point of view, if they've stayed on side, there's a great potential ball in there towards the far post for those two coming in. It was the right idea from Vissa. Just didn't quite get enough on it. Credit Diego Carlos with the good positioning and the header away. But from a Brentford point of view, that's better. Get the ball out wide, look for the opportunities, have players gambling into the penalty area. That's what it's got to be now. Half an hour left, 2 down.
It's going to be an in-swinging corner here from the left-hand side. Looks like it's going to be Mikel Damsgaard with the ball. He lifts it towards the edge of the 6-yard box, straight onto the head of Morgan Rogers, having a very good game, by the way. Had an opportunity to see him a few times playing for Middlesbrough. And I've got to say, he looks like he's adapted to life in the Premier League very well based on today's performance.
Yeah, I was impressed by his loan spells. He's one of those that's been around some of the lower leagues and has impressed so far and developed really well.
Here come Brentford, though. They've got a throw on down the left. It's taken quickly, and the ball into the box just over the head of Zanka. And then it's a miscued shot, but it's in the back of the net. 2 miscued shots, you have to say. But Brentford won't care. They have a goal back in this game on 58 minutes. It was a ball from the left-hand side, which Villa didn't deal with initially. And then it's a really miscued shot from Mikel Damsgaard, which hits Zanka Jorgensen and then goes into the back of the net. It's a combination of mistakes from both sides, but Brentford won't care. They're back in the game.
Yeah, Villa were light on numbers, so I can't quite work out why they had so few players back in those central positions. There just weren't enough to cover the Brentford players. But it's what we talked about, isn't it? Get bodies into the box, start to push players forward. As soon as you do, yeah, it's a bit of a fluke goal.
It's a double fluke.
It's a miss-hit shot followed by a miss-hit prod towards goal. Comes off his standing foot and goes in.
Unbelievable from Zanka. I mean, no wonder he had a big smile on his face when he goes back. I mean, it's a goal for 2-1. So Brentford aren't going to be celebrating this one with hands up in the air. But there's almost like a sort of embarrassed look there from Zanka, because as Steve just mentioned, he swung at the ball with his right foot, he missed it, it hit his left foot and goes into the back of the net. And as I say, that's off the back of a completely miscued shot from Damsgaard as well. So Brentford have scored. I mean, that is a definition of a scrappy goal, but Brentford really won't care.
No, they won't. It's the way back into the game. But as you say, it's the first time they've got on the front foot. It's the first time they put players forward. They kept them in after the set-piece opportunity. Didn't all go back into defence and go back into the shell as they have done. And it shows that Villa have those frailties in that sense. You know, as we've said, you know, they've had a big game in midweek. They've got another game coming up in Europe as well. So focus is a little bit all over the place as far as Villa are concerned, potentially, if they can put them under pressure today. And you kind of felt that was what was disappointing a little bit about the first half. Is first 10 minutes, Brentford started off on the front foot and looked okay. Looked like there were potentially opportunities. Villa looked a little bit uncomfortable, but then they went back into their defensive shell and made it easy for Villa. Now they're making it more difficult. All of a sudden, they're getting lots of possession.
Well, they are, and there's that nervousness from Villa now that potentially Brentford are only one goal away from equalising. A cross comes in, and Brentford have equalised. What a goal that is from Bryan Mbeumo. Out of absolutely nothing, across from the left-hand side, and a collector's item. Bryan Mbeumo scoring with his weaker right foot. Volleys that one towards the back of the net, and within just a few minutes, Aston Villa, who looked completely in control against a Brentford side out of form, out of sync, looking all over the place, and suddenly Brentford are level.
Both managers look absolutely baffled in various ways. Thomas Frank does as well. There's hardly any celebration from him at the moment. I don't think he'll be impressed by his side overall, but he'll certainly be impressed by how they've come back into this game. And this time it's just a 2-on-2. It looks like it's overhit, but Mbeumo does really well. He doesn't actually go for the header, knowing that it's almost drifting over his head. So he pulls away from the defender, realises he's got the opportunity, and as you said, kind of waves a foot at it rather than anything else. It's not the prettiest volley you'll ever see, but it's effective. He makes sure he gets contact on it because he knows he's close in, and if he can get a decent contact on it, Martinez won't have time to react. Exactly what happens, and as you said, out of nothing, Brentford 2 goals inside 5 minutes, job done. 2-2.
2-2, and a big fist pump there from Mbeumo towards those travelling Brentford fans. They probably can't believe what they're seeing either. They were probably worrying about their side having a nightmare of an afternoon after the way that first half ended and then the second half started, but now with just under half an hour to play, Steve, it really is game on. And Villa, from the neutrals' point of view, it's going to be exciting now because Villa will be absolutely furious at the fact that they're level in this game. They might start pushing further forward quickly. That might open things up on Brentford, who are now feeling more confident. So it really is anybody's game.
Well, yeah, the question is now from a Brentford point of view, you say, well, actually, 2-2 away from home, having been 2-0 down, you might want to sit in a little bit, but I don't think they can. They're coming forward again here.
Well, Wissa's ball into the box, and Mbeumo hits the deck. I don't think there's ever any danger of there being a discussion about a penalty there. Looks like the Cameroon international lost his balance completely on his own. But it's really opened up here now at Villa Park, and Thomas Frank and his assistants having a quick discussion. Just to remind you, Alex Moreno, Kellyman, Duran, DRB, Zaniolo, Kessler, Hayden, Chambers, Irregabenham and Olsen are the substitutes for Villa this afternoon. For Brentford, it's Baptiste, Godos, Onyeka, Lewis Potter, Tony, Mope, Jan Moliuk, Kim Ji-so and goalkeeper Strakosha. So I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing some of those substitutes sooner rather than later. Because Villa will be absolutely seething at the fact that they're suddenly level in a game where they were in complete control. And straight away, Brentford are just pushing players further forward. They've won the ball back here in midfield, and they've got a bit of possession now with Christopher Ayer down the right-hand side. A ball in towards Wissa, who turns away from Pau Torres, but runs straight into Yuri Tielemans. There's a bit of a lunge there from Janelt, but he wins the ball. And the ball then flares up in the air. It's headed up in the air by Tielemans. It's still bouncing around. Eventually, Wissa wins it, and then Mbeumo heading towards goal gets brought down, and it's a free kick to Brentford. Villa, I mean, it's almost like someone's pressed the button and Villa have just suddenly gone into chaos mode.
Absolutely. Players running into each other, lack of communication, poor challenge there in terms of the foul from Paul Torres. There was probably even a foul off the ball as Vissa tried to turn away as well that could have been pulled up by the referee, but he goes for the first one quite rightly. But as you say, at the moment, Villa seem to have completely lost their way, and it's largely because Brentford have suddenly started attacking over the last 10 minutes.
We have a goal at Molineux as well, do we, Steve?
Yes, we do, an equaliser as well for West Ham. Emerson has scored a goal on 63 minutes. Sarabia from the penalty spot in the first half for Wolves, and it's Wolves 1, West Ham 1, but there is a VAR check on that goal.
That's literally just come up now, so West Ham will be celebrating, and now they've got to realise that there's going to be a VAR check, but it's there's just one game that's goalless in the Premier League now. That's Fulham against Newcastle. And in fact, Burnley and those two teams in the goalless draw are the only teams that haven't scored in the Premier League this afternoon as well. Things are starting to open up a little bit across the top flight. We'll take that back. West Ham could go into that non-scoring list as well. The goal has been ruled out for a foul, so it's still Wolves 1, West Ham 0 at Molineux. But back here at Villa Park, 64 minutes gone. It's a free kick to Brentford, maybe 5-6 yards from the edge of the D, maybe even less than that. It's a really good opportunity. It's central, and the right foot of Damsgaard or the left foot of Mbeumo is going to be going for this one. We got Zanka there as well, but I can't imagine he's going to have much of a say as to where this is going to go. It's going to be Damsgaard who lifts it over the wall, but I think he's got to flick off the wall and it's going to be out for a Brentford corner.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it from that initial strike. We'll see again here as the shot comes in. Yeah, it flicks off the head of Diego Carlos, who rises highest. Unfortunately for him, it loops over the crossbar of Martinez, because had it dropped in towards goal, Martinez may well have been left stranded on that occasion. He was going left to right. The ball started going right to left, but fortunately it's nothing more than a corner as far as Villa are concerned defensively.
So a corner kick to Brentford then on the right-hand side. Just waiting to see who's going to come across to take this one. Is it going to be Matthias Jensen? I thought Damsgaard might go across, but he's actually waiting inside the penalty area. And it's going to be Bryan Mbeumo. He's got Jensen there as a short option, but it looks like it'll be Mbeumo whipping this one in himself. Plenty to aim for inside the penalty area. Goes for the near post, and it comes off the back of Diego Carlos and out for another corner. It was Zanka's header initially, but then it comes off Diego Carlos and out for another corner.
Yeah, it was into a kind of dangerous area, wasn't it, really? It never really got quite the height on it or the curl to get it in towards that near post area. Zanka, as you say, again, waved a foot at it more than anything else, and he's rather fortunate in the end that it goes away for a corner, because it certainly wasn't going towards goal at that point.
So the third corner kick for Brentford. Villa have had 8 of them already after 66 minutes. Mbeumo again with the corner. Goes for goal this time, and that one needed a save from Martinez right by his near post. It's back to Mbeumo, then it's whipped in by Matthias Jensen. Diving header, doesn't get too much distance on it. Collins goes for goal. So does Regulion at the edge of the box. He loses his balance, so doesn't get much on that. And a quick save from Martinez. Bowls it out too quickly, though. Hands up there from the goalkeeper. An apology for John McGinn, because that's that one straight out for a Brentford throw.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the corner we saw in the first half, which Flekken had to scramble across, and Pal Torres just got a flick header on it. This time it went straight to the keeper, who had to push it away rather than try and catch it at that near post. And then, as you say, good option out wide for McGinn, but just overthrew it Martinez. The idea was right, but the execution just wasn't on this occasion. A little bit of movement on the benches as well. Just trying to see who it is who might be on their way. But we see the possession stats, 76% to Aston Villa in the first half, but only around 50% either way in the second.
It's just statistical proof of what you said earlier, Steve, that the difference in this second half is that Brentford are seeing more of the ball, they're growing in confidence, and it's immediately slowed down what Villa are doing whilst giving Brentford half a chance. And they're on the attack again now. Ball over towards the right-hand side is where Wissa. It's in the back of the net. Brentford have completely reversed this game. Unbelievable. Inside 10 minutes, they've gone from 2-0 down to 3-2 up. And they're in front of those travelling supporters now. But goodness me, as much credit as we have to give to Brentford, you have to say that Villa have completely switched off.
It is absolutely unbelievable. You've coined it right there, Paul. Unai Emery certainly can't believe it on the sideline. He's slumped back into his chair, looking at what's happening on the field. You see it again here. There's a free kick in a central position. Villa, no real danger to that far post, but you see it again here. Villa just not moving in those wide positions. Too easy to get the ball out wide. First time ball across, nobody picks up the runner of Wissa. All he does is pull away from the defenders at the near post, finds himself in space, tidy finish, job done. As you say, shambles from Villa, but from a Brentford point of view, you think, well, if you'd played like this from the start, you would have been there. And Unai Emery is absolutely livid, and not surprisingly with his side.
Absolutely, yes. Certainly managed to lip-read the word vamos there in Spanish, as if to say, well, come on, hurry up, put something into it. Villa's second goal scorer, Morgan Rogers, he's the first one to get the hook. And it's Nicolo Zaniolo who's on to replace him. I think there was always a hope that he would have been a regular starter for Villa, but he's had injury and problems with his form as well, so hasn't really quite made the impact, but certainly off the bench he'll be looking to try and spark a bit of a recovery. I mean, I still can't believe I'm saying it, but we're at the three-quarter mark in this game. It's Aston Villa 2, Brentford 3, and it will be Steve to take us through to full time.
Yes, 9 minutes, 3 goals. Not a bad turnaround for Thomas Frank's side. I think he'll be pleased, is the best I can say.
I mean, he'll be absolutely delighted with things as it stands, although It's also worth pointing out that Brentford aren't one of the league leaders in terms of letting points slip from winning positions. So, as I say, if you're a Villa fan or if you've got money tied up on Aston Villa, don't panic just yet because, as I say, Brentford can still be got at. It's just a question of Villa perhaps stepping up and actually remembering how they managed to go up Brentford before. And here they go now with Zaniolo.
Yeah, Zaniolo trying to get away through the centre. Challenge comes in. Referee is happy with it. In fact, I think he may have given the decision against Zaniolo for sliding in on Mbeumo, who got there first on this occasion. I'll give you the stat then. 28 Premier League points dropped from winning positions from a Brentford point of view so far this season. Is the stat that backs things up that Paul was saying. But in terms of the turnaround for Brentford, let's look at the positives. 20 minutes left to go. And less than 15 minutes ago, they were 2-0 down. There's a sending off as well for Burnley, by the way, at Goodison Park. Everton leading by 1-0. The goal from Calvert-Lewin just before half-time. And Dara O'Shea has been sent off after 67 minutes. So Burnley also
and
down to 10 men.
Looks like that's a straight red for O'Shea as well. So if he's going to be missing for 3 games, that will be really bad news. He's certainly been one of Vincent Kompany's regular centre-backs.
Yeah, so from a Brentford point of view as well, it looks better below them. Luton are losing. And Burnley continue to struggle. But Everton with what may be a very vital 3 points for them, obviously, as the league season continues. But here in our game, Brentford now leading by 3-2. A dramatic second half turnaround, having conceded a second just after the break. They now found themselves in front. Stoke pull one back against West Brom in the Championship as well. Stoke 1, West Brom 2. It remains Coventry 2, Leeds 0. And Leicester 1, Birmingham 1, with the two sides at the top of the table. Ipswich having lost to Norwich a little while ago. As the ball is forward downfield again, it'll be cleared away by Brentford. A long ball over the top, easily tidied up by Diego Carlos. There's got a penalty for West Ham, who thought they'd scored a little while ago, but didn't. It was ruled out by VAR for a foul. It remains Wolves 0, Wolves 1, West Ham 0, I should say, but a penalty has been given to West Ham. We'll confirm the details of that when we have them. But at the moment it's Villa trying to get forward with Watkins, who looks pleadingly at the referee for a free kick, doesn't get one. Ball is out of play for a throw-in just inside the Villa half, right-hand side, as Ivan Toney gets up for a little jog down the side.
Now, is this because he's been told to warm up, or is this just because he feels like he wants to have a little bit of a warm-up now? Because, in all fairness, whilst it's certainly no hardship to bring Ivan Toney off your bench for the last 15 to 20 minutes, whether or not that's the substitution Brentford needs to be thinking about now, I'm not so sure. There is an issue here now with Regulion as well, so they'll have to wait and see whether or not he can play on.
Yeah, I don't think Ivan Toney would be the change there, I've got to say, if Regulion is unable to carry on. But anyway,
on that subject, I think most likely to be either Lewis Potter or Onyeka. But not Onyeka, but certainly Godos or Lewis Potter, I would expect. Brentford, of course, are still short of wide defenders with all the injuries that they've had this season. Say Norgard, Pinnock, Hickey, Mee, Henry and De Silva all listed as the injured players for Brentford. But then you've got Ramsey, Buendia, Cash, Mings and Kamara missing for Villa. And most of them would be pushing for first team starts. And it looks like West Ham have converted their penalty.
Yes, they have. Lucas Paqueta has scored it. So it's Wolves 1, West Ham 1. We still have this breaking play for Regulion getting some treatment as we see replays of all the goals. The 5 of them that have been had so far in this game. As Villa went 2-0 up just after half-time through Rodgers, but then 3 goals in 9 minutes for Brentford make it Aston Villa 2, Brentford 3. Elsewhere it remains Everton 1, Burnley 0. Burnley down to 10 men. Still blank between Fulham and Newcastle. Luton a goal down at home against Bournemouth, and Wolves 1, West Ham 1, as we've just said, as play gets back underway then. And Ollie Watkins has possession for Aston Villa, plays it out wide to Dini on this left-hand side. Watkins goes on the underlap, as it were, down that left, but doesn't get the ball. It's worked across instead towards Tielemans, who tries to find Watkins in the area. It's headed away from him. Is it kept in? No, it isn't. Ball has run out of play, I think, as Ayer tried to get the ball, Roslev rather, my apologies, tried to get the ball away down that right-hand side. But it is out of play for a corner. Set-piece opportunity for Villa then. This time it'll be the right-footed in-swinger from the left-hand side. As again, Diego Carlos and Zanka make themselves known to each other. Ball is in towards the 6-yard box. Flekken went down. Referee didn't see anything wrong with it, but it's cleared away anyway by Brentford. Not fully clear though. Back with Villa through Tielemans, midway inside the Brentford half, right-hand side. He tries to chip a ball over the top, but gets far too much on it on this occasion, and the ball just runs harmlessly through to Mark Flekken.
He uses that opportunity, Flekken, just because he knows the referee will be watching where the ball is, to sort of put his arms up and ask about that last challenge. I'm not so sure. I mean, it's one of those where goalkeepers, I think, have now learned that it's another way of trying to deflect an attack, isn't it? If you can show the referee that you've been fouled, there's always a chance it might go your way. But of course, you wouldn't want to rely on that, because we saw what happened earlier this season at Burnley, where James Trafford arguably probably was fouled in the build-up to a goal, but it wasn't given.
Yeah, subjective penalties and fouls in the penalty area for a defensive point of view. Never ones you want to rely on in that sense.
No, we were told that the video referees would fix all of that, but it turns out that they've probably added a little bit more controversy to it at times as well.
Yeah, still the human being making a subjective choice in that sense, as Luton have an equaliser against Bournemouth. Could be a big goal at Kenilworth Road. We'll confirm you the score on that as soon as we have it. In
Jordan
fact,
Clark,
Jordan Clark, as Paul said, has got the equaliser for Luton as Aston Villa come forward looking for an equaliser in our game. 15 minutes left to go, but it's Brentford who make the challenge, and it's Brentford who should be able to clear downfield as Visser turns back towards his own goal. But he has light blue shirts in support now, streaming forward as Janelt goes up over that left hand side. Back to Visser again. He does really well, turns away from Douglas Luiz, knows the contact's going to come from the Aston Villa man, hits the deck and wins the free kick for his side. A little kiss on the back of the head as well from Janelt, I think, there as well, as the substitution is going to be made now, Paul. I think it looks like the Thomas Frank is finally dipping into his box, because Regulion can't continue. No,
Sergio Regulion can't continue, so he's off, and former Hull City man Keane Lewis Potter is on to replace him. I thought there might have been a second change there as well for Brentford. It looks like it's just the one change for now, pretty much enforced because of that injury. But in a strange sort of way, it's like Brentford have taken off a wide defender and replaced him with a winger who's being asked to play as a wing back. So if anything, Brentford have gone slightly more attacking, even though they don't really want to. Yeah,
no choice really, as Paul said earlier on. The options, I should say, rather, for this Brentford side are limited due to injury, a little bit like we talked about Luton a little while ago. We saw Palace at lunchtime in similar scenarios, with a number of players particularly defensively injured and having to do what they can with what's available to them. As a long clearance downfield from the free kick. Was the onside? The flag is going to stay down at least for the moment, but then it does go up as Damsgaard gets possession in the end, down towards the corner flag. It wastes a few more seconds from a Brentford point of view.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't as far away as he first looked.
No, but it's such a shame, because he could have taken 2 steps back and he would have been onside, but Brentford win the ball back in midfield.
Yeah, they do, and players streaming forward again in blue shirts to try and make the most of this. But that's a terrible ball on the edge of the penalty area, but it's won back again by Zanka, who's in quickly for the challenge on Zaniolo down that right-hand side now for Brentford. Roslev has it, tries to push it around the back of Digne, but gets too much on it, and the ball gets away from him and goes straight out of play for a goal kick. But Brentford again on the front foot, causing problems for this Villa side.
They are, yes, and certainly looking at the expressions of some of the Villa fans that we're getting on our screens now, independent of Tube Studio commentary, they look a little bit concerned, because this is a game where on paper they would have thought it was going to be quite easy. Then when it started, they thought, well, Brentford aren't offering much at all, and then when they went 2-0 up, it just seemed like everything was going Villa's way. An unbelievable 10-minute turnaround, and Brentford go forward again. Yeah,
the ball through towards Visser, just outside the penalty. He can't quite decide what to do with it. He kind of thought, shall I shoot? Shall I take on the last defender? In the end, he stumbles over the ball and allows it to drift away, and Villa can clear downfield up towards the halfway line. Watkins drops in deep, picks up possession, rolls the ball back to Douglas Luiz. Not the best pass forward from him. Concert as well to keep it in, as we see Diaby and others likely to come on. There's changes from both sides here. Brentford have got a couple of players, I think, coming towards the sideline as well, although we haven't seen a close-up shot yet as to who they might be. The ball is forward up towards the edge of the Brentford penalty area as Villa come forward. Digne with a cross in, decent one as well. It flicks off a defensive head, comes deep towards Bailey. Douglas Luiz tries to get a challenge in on the edge of the box. He's tackled though, he stays down. Referee waves away protestations, and Brentford come forward with Mbeumo on his own. 3 Villa defenders in front of him. He waits for support, drives down towards the right-hand edge of the penalty area, then looks up. The supporters started to come. He tried to slot it into a space that wasn't really there.
Brentford need to use these opportunities opportunities. Wissa just a couple of moments ago missing a really good chance, stopping his toe as he was about to shoot. And Mbeumo there, the sort of quick flick pass towards Damsgaard, just a little bit short. And now here come a Villa with Douglas Luiz.
He's allowed to come a long way before he's finally closed down. He rolls the ball inside towards Tielemans, centre of the the Brentford half, I should say. Villa on the attack, down towards the penalty area now. Watkins, right-hand edge of the box, needs support out wide, has to wait for it to come. Eventually it's worked all the way back across, and Brentford have gone back to type in terms of how they were in the first half, out of possession. They're dropping back deep to make sure there's no real opportunities for Villa to get a clear, obvious chance in front of goal. But whether they can do that for the last 11 minutes plus stoppages of the game, we wait to see, as Konsa has possession. The former Brentford man rolls it down the right-hand side. There's players in the box if Bailey can get it across. He tries to, but it comes off high here and it's cleared away long downfield over the halfway line.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's a goal for Newcastle away at Fulham. Fabian Schär gets the ball at the back of it, and now we're hearing there's a VAR review in that game, so potentially that Newcastle goal may still be chalked off, but it looks like Newcastle may have taken the lead in that game, which would be the only goalless game in the Premier League if that goal is chalked up. But here come Villa again now with possession down the right-hand side.
Yeah, they've got numbers forward, but Brentford have got numbers back in defence as well. As the cross comes in, it deflects off ahead. Kanoe Watkins has got there above Flekken. He rises above the keeper and heads home. And the former Brentford man has got his second of the afternoon and makes it Villa 3, Brentford 3.
It's poor from Brentford. I mean, Villa have been turning up the pressure in the last few minutes, and it's paid off very, very quickly, you have to say. Ball down the right-hand side. It's a cross towards the back post. And it's really poor from Mark Flekken. You can't jump like that. He's pretty much starts off as the favourite to get onto that ball, but it's over his head, and then Watkins is just behind him and heads it into the net.
Yeah, and he's not held by Zanka either in the middle, who should be really shepherding Watkins away from the ball. He's only got eyes on it as he comes across, but he doesn't get off the floor either. Doesn't help his keeper, and neither of them cover themselves in glory as Ollie Watkins pops up at the far post. Poacher extraordinaire, of course. 18 goals on the season now, and talking of poachers in front of goal, off goes Visser and Damsgaard, and on comes Ivan Toney, at least as one of the changes, and the other one is Yarmouk, who comes on for him as well. As confirmation correction of the Newcastle goal, it has been ruled out after the VAR check. It remains Fulham 0, Newcastle 0.
Yeah, still goalless in that game, and the two Brentford players on yellow cards have actually been taken off. So Toney will join Mbeumo up front, and then Yarmouk will join the other two in midfield, Jensen and Janel.
Yeah, the ball long downfield by Brentford this time. It's headed away by Konsa, but will go out of play for a throw-in as Stoke have come back from 2-0 down, I think, to make it 2-2 against West Brom in the Championship as well. As, that one stands at 2-2 at the Bet365 Stadium. Unai Emery is barking out the instructions to his side. He'll still not be impressed by this at 3-3 at home, having led by 2-0. Frustration for both managers as Villa try and come forward through these central positions now. The pace of the game just drops a little as both sides now try and reset as they are back to all square. 8 minutes to go plus stoppage time. 6 goals, second time this afternoon we've done games that have 6 goals in them. Palace 2, Manchester City 4 at lunchtime. Here comes Bailey into the area, ball breaks away, shot comes in but it's charged down. It should be cleared and is, but not successfully by Brentford as they give the ball straight back to Villa. It's picked up by Pau Torres coming forward from defence. In fact, that's Watkins in front of him, but decides instead to play it square to Douglas Luiz, on to McGinn. Out wide onto that right-hand side again. Against players in the centre, if Bailey can get it across. He finds McGinn, rolls the ball back deep. Diego Carlos comes forward. McGinn has it again, edge of the box, surrounded by blue shirts. Still keeps possession here for Villa. Can he find the killer ball into the box? Lifts one in, McGinn right to the far post. Digne heads it back in to a central position, but it's cleared away. But at the moment, Brentford having to dig in here.
Yes, they are. They really have to now worry about letting another goal slip here, Brentford. I mean, there was a ball in from Bailey on that right-hand side, which came off the pack side, effectively, of Yana before it was partially cleared. But it's amazing the psychology of players out on the pitch. Brentford looked like they were beaten, then they grew into the game, got level, then took the lead, and seemed to be sort of bossing it for a few minutes, but then they just allowed Villa back into the game, and all of a sudden it's Villa now 3-3, and they look more likely to go on and win the game.
Yeah, they certainly do. There's going to be more changes from a Brentford point of view as they try and find a way to hold on at least in this game and perhaps look for a winner.
Looked like Frank Onyeka was getting ready to come on there. Whether or not they're going to sacrifice a striker to have another midfielder on, or if it's just going to be a swapping of one midfielder for another, wait and see. But a long ball now, which needs to be dealt with here by Diego Carlos, and it has been dealt with particularly well. Roslev is still fighting for it, and he's won himself a free kick there for the smallest challenge ever. I think he's got quite lucky there, the Brentford man. But it looks like a combination of fouls there from Diego Carlos has also got him a yellow card.
Yeah, certainly has. A little bit of totting up perhaps by the referee against Diego Carlos, so the yellow card comes out for him. As 2 goals elsewhere. Newcastle have now scored, it would appear, against Fulham. It's Fulham 0, Newcastle 1, and Wolves 1, West Ham 2.
Yeah, just to tell you, it was Bruno Guimaraes that scored for Newcastle to make it 1-0 there, and in the game at Molineux, it's James Ward-Prowse who's got the goal for West Ham.
Yeah, slightly bizarre, having met Bruno the dog this week for a Newcastle fan who named it after Bruno Guimaraes. He had various others in this squad that he wanted to use, but decided that shouting Bruno around the park was probably a little better than some of the others. So he went for that one, he said. Anyway, changes to be made, and Mbeumo and Jensen will be the 2 who will come off. I don't think, looking at who you said was on the sideline, Paul, that's not a big surprise, is it, really?
Not a big surprise, no. I would say Jensen and Mbeumo to get the hook, on Onyeka and Mope to come on. Dubravka, I think, would be quite a good name for a dog, just off the back of that. But anyway, aside from that, it's
difficult to pronounce, perhaps, when he's shouting. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. But Mbeumo now, he's had a great game for Brentford, having had a pretty quiet first half and actually giving the ball away, not delivering on a couple of occasions. He certainly made up for that in the second half.
Yeah, he certainly did. But, the ball will be finally back into play. We've got 5 minutes still to go, but there will be a fair bit of stoppage time with the number of goals we've seen and the number of substitutions. But anyway, a Brentford free kick is the first port of call for us. Lewis Potter is over it. He lifts it in right-footed. Martinez stays at home. He thinks about coming, but his defence get the first head to it, and then it's cleared away down that right-hand side. Will it stay in play? Yes, it will, just about. Well, there's a bit of a mistake at the back. Onyeka makes a little bit of a mess of it, and it's cleared away downfield.
Well, when he recovers in the end, Onyeka slides in after giving the ball away. Could have been a lot worse had he not got any touch on that challenge, but Villa have taken the throw in quickly.
Yeah, ball again down the right-hand side. Bailey lifts across in. There's nobody there, though, in the claret and blue. It goes all the way out of the penalty area to Digne, who comes inside for Watkins, who pops up on that left-hand side, looking for room to try and get a shot in. He's well marshalled, but keeps possession. Tielemans quickly to Konsa. Konsa to Bailey. Bailey into the area. Blocked out again. Tony stretches out a leg, as do others, and Yarmolenko will have possession of it down by his own corner flag. He's got to be careful here with the number of players around him, but Brentford do well and clear the ball at least up towards halfway. But now it's going to come back again as Pau Torres turns away inside the centre circle, looks forward. No real outlet for him, though, at the moment, with Brentford sitting back well deep inside their own half of the field. It's picked up again by Torres, just rolls the ball across on that right-hand side. Diego Carlos, and we've seen this before, obviously, from an Villa point of view. We saw it in the first half and the early stages of the second, where Brentford will sit in now a little bit, maybe declare at a point, but that's a dangerous thing, as we've seen already in this game, as they get a challenge in but lose possession straight away. Konsa has it back under pressure from Tony, tries to get a cross in, comes off the Brentford striker, hits the corner flag. Assistant is not sure, eventually decides it was a throw in rather than a corner.
In fairness, not too much of a process there from Konsa. I think it's always very difficult when it comes in at that angle, and then John McGinn's given a free kick away, which he can't quite believe. I didn't think there was too much in that from John McGinn, in fairness, but has been given as a free kick to Brentford, which they'll be very happy about. As you mentioned, Steve, 2.5 minutes plus injury time to go. There's likely to be quite a bit of that. So I think it's a very fair point that if Brentford starts sitting back and just hoping for the full-time whistle now, it's far too soon to be doing that.
It certainly is. The point will be important, with Luton currently drawing at home against Bournemouth as well, just to keep the distance the same between Brentford and the bottom three. And they come forward again, looking for something else. Tony tries to force it forward. He was always under pressure, could never really get the ball fully under control. And it's cleared away by Villa and thrown by Martinez to Zaniolo on the left-hand side. Who's he got in the centre? Can he find anybody? No, he can't. And eventually it's hacked away by Onyeka down towards the halfway line. But Villa win it straight back, and back it comes again towards the Brentford penalty area, although it's slowed down by Digne. Just finds Douglas Luiz, who's directing traffic for the moment. Finds Diego Carlos. On again for Contra. We've seen that play a lot from Villa in this game. Ball into McGinn again. Right corner of the penalty area. Back out wide. Bailey's Cross though is charged down. It comes back to him again. Can he get room for a ball in? He can't. He's really well marshalled on this occasion. Worked across on that far side by Yarmouk, but the ball eventually is crossed in towards the far post. Tinya's pulled away from there, pulls it back to Douglas Luiz, chips the ball into the area, headed away inside the 6-yard box, knocked away by Maupay onto the left-hand side, but Villa are quickest to react and win possession back again. The ball's on that right-hand side, in towards Tielemans, down to the byline, pulls it back across, comes off. Who last? Zaniola's in there, Flekken's in there, so is everybody else. I think he may have gone behind for a corner in the end.
Well, it'll be Yarmouk that breathes a sigh of relief, because it was good work to win that ball back at the edge of the Brentford penalty, and then he's the one that gives it away, that allows Villa to then go down this right-hand channel. And yes, it is Flekken that gets that final touch and puts it out for a corner. A late goal in the Championship to tell you about. Leeds have put one back, by the way, away to Coventry City, but Leicester now lead against Birmingham City by 2-1.
Yeah, Leicester could be one of only the top 3 to win this afternoon as it stands. Ipswich having gone down at lunchtime to Norwich, and Leeds 2-1 down at Coventry as the ball is whipped in towards the near post, flicked on. Flekken will get there first, but he just has to kind of flap a punch away from so many players in front of him. The ball is pulled across towards Tielemans, onto that right-hand side again. Plenty of players forward still for Villa. Ball into the area. Oh, free header. It's gone right across the face of goal from Konsa. And then the flying shot on the volley goes well over the top. Lucas Digne trying to find the space, tried the spectacular, but Konsa, free header, 50 pence head straight back across the face of goal.
Yeah, he's not got his body in the right place, and he's sort of, as you say, I think he's almost gone up too soon, realises where the ball is, and he's trying to make something of that cross. It's not a bad effort actually from Digne. Technique-wise, I think he weights that onto his left foot superbly well. It's just that doesn't quite get it on target. But Villa are making a double change here, triple change in fact. Digne, Bailey and Tielemans are all going off, and it looks like it's going to be Diaby, Duran, and I'm trying to see who the third player is, and Moreno, who are going to be coming on.
Yeah, it certainly is the last throw of the dice, you would certainly say, from this side. Diaby's been on the sideline for a while. I thought he was coming on about 10 minutes ago, and then he never actually came onto the field. We wondered where he'd gone. Well, now we get the answer as he finally heads on to the pitch for at least the final few minutes of the game as Villa try and throw everything forward. There will be plenty of stoppage time. There are still another 6 minutes to play because we have 7 minutes on the board. As we said, a couple of injuries, plenty of substitutions, few goals as well in this second half, and we've got another injury here, so it's going to be more than 7 minutes. I'm afraid to say there's a Brentford man down, head injury, and Unai Emery is furious on the sideline again about why his side have had to stop play. But
yeah, I mean, it's always a disgrace when an opposition player for a team that are trying to see out a win or a draw are starting to go down with more cramp and more injuries in injury time. But in fairness, you know, as Unai Emery's teams over the years never ever done that themselves. It's always a disgrace when it's happening against you. But then when you're doing it, it's just, you know, good tactics, isn't it? So it's just one of those. But certainly, I'm sure the referee will be adding an extra minute to this anyway, because it did take a little while for Janel to pick himself up.
Could be some important news coming in from Kenilworth Road. We will see in a moment as Brentford come forward down their left-hand side, then looking for options in the centre. Don't really have any at the moment, but they'll keep possession through Yarmouk on that left-hand side. And eventually it's worked all the way to the right. Roslev does get his headed to it, but no support around him. It's cleared away, but not fully clear from a Aston Villa point of view. Ball is picked up by Zanka. It's played down the line. Well, he was looking for Roslev, but it's too much on it. Moreno will just shepherd him away from it, and the ball is back in the hands of Emi Martinez as Luton have gone 2-1 up against Bournemouth in stoppage time at Kenilworth Road. Carlton Morris on the score sheet again for Luton.
It's just something about that Luton team, isn't it? Even when they've looked like they were falling away in the last few weeks, they've got themselves a late winner. But here come Villa looking for a late winner themselves. The cross in from the RB is blocked, but here comes Alex Moreno. Yeah,
Moreno has it, tries to get the ball across. His cross is charged down though, goes behind for the corner. So it's Everton 1, Burnley 0, and Luton 2, Bournemouth 1 in the two games involving the other sides towards the bottom end of the table in the deepest situations, Burnley and Luton, but Luton are in front 2-1. Morris won't get you, Woodrow will. The ball is on the left-hand side then for the corner kick, whipped in towards the near post, headed away, picked up on the edge of the penalty area by Villa again. Ball is then pushed wide onto the left-hand side for Douglas Luiz, who took the corner. He'll whip it in left-footed towards the far post. Nobody really gets to it. Everybody's looking around to see where the ball's gone. It's gone wide on the right-hand side. McGinn chips it back in. Again, it's to Louise on the far left-hand edge of the penalty area. Again, he chests it down, pulls it back. Cross comes in. Not the best one into the area. Brentford should be able to clear and do clear as well. And they perhaps have a chance to break, but McGinn does really well on Tony. Comes across, makes the challenge, and then makes sure that Ivan Toney can't get the ball by rugby tackling him just outside the field.
Yes, and whether or not McGinn gets a yellow card for that, I think he should do really. But Brentford have taken the throw in quickly. It's kept alive here by Mope, but he can't quite play it back to a teammate. But it's getting a bit frenetic now in the last few minutes of the game.
It's a little bit NBA at the moment. The game has opened up dramatically as both sides look for a winner, which you might say in some ways is unlikely for either side. The way that the game has gone, they both kind of deserve a point, you kind of feel, but both will feel that there's 3 points to be had here in the final few minutes as Villa put a ball into the area. It's headed away by Roslev, still not properly clear though. Again, it's picked up, this time by Pau Torres. Left-footed chip into the area, not the best ball over hit. Header comes in, and it goes out of play off Ayer for a throw-in down the left-hand side. Important goal at the bottom end of the Championship as Huddersfield have gone 1-0 up against Millwall in stoppage time at the John Smith Stadium. A long throw then from Moreno from Villa into the penalty area. 5 of the 7 minutes have been played. Brentford hack it clear up towards the halfway line where Villa will tidy up to Martinez, who's in the centre circle. Plays it forward right-footed down the field. Poor ball really, though, easily headed away by Roslev, and there will be a foul for the challenge on him. He has gone down holding his ankle for the moment. I suspect that's another diplomatic injury, shall we say, Paul?
Yes, I think so. I think there's certainly no need for the physio to come on for this one. And Unai Emery pacing around inside his technical area. He knows what a great opportunity this was for Villa to really get some distance ahead of Spurs and pretty much put any chances of Manchester United catching them to bed. But a point that's not really enough for Villa in a game where if we take the mad 10 minutes for Brentford out and a few spells where Brentford were making it difficult for Villa, overall the home side have been the much better team today, really.
Yeah, absolutely. You would say overall that's the case, but credit Brentford for the way that they battled in this game. Never given up, and certainly had worked hard in that first half from a defensive point of view. And then, as you say, the dramatic 10-minute spell that changed the game, but we still stand at 3-3 as Villa come forward again. Ball into the area. Flekken has to be quick to the edge of his 6-yard box. Takes the catch in front of Watkins. Looks at the options, doesn't like them downfield, and therefore will take his time, at least for the moment. Full time at Goodison Park. It's finished Everton 1, 10-man Burnley 0 in that game.
Massive win for, of course, that's Everton's first league win of 2024 as well. It's taken until the first weekend of April, which is quite incredible, really. But they'll be delighted with those 3 points.
Yeah, it's not just my chair creaking; it's the trap door to the Championship creaking under Burnley as well. I'm afraid to say for Burnley fans at the moment, but Brentford fans will be pleased that one of the sides in the bottom 3 has not picked up points today. And a point here could see the gap close because Luton currently lead by 2-1 against Bournemouth. Free kick here for Brentford though. The challenge came in from Douglas Luiz, who is frustrated. Picks up a yellow card as well for his efforts on that challenge, and it will be a chance. Could be perhaps the last attack of the half. We have played the 7 minutes. We did have a little bit of additional injury time in stoppage time though. Douglas Luiz stretched out a leg. On this occasion did bring the foul to Brentford. We wait for the free kick to be taken, and we wait for full time anywhere else around the Premier League.
Yeah, real frustrated look there on Douglas Luiz's face, and of course it's bad news for Villa because it now means that once we've had, he's going to get a booking here as well, Douglas Luiz, but once we've had this free kick we're going to be well over the 7 minutes we should have had, so potentially Brentford have done enough.
Yeah, it looks like from the stats in front of us that Douglas Luiz may be facing a suspension as well now because of that booking, as Ayer has the ball for Brentford. The free kick has been taken. He drives into the penalty area in the end, but it's blocked out, cleared away downfield. Brentford will still have possession, still with play on. Referee Michael Salisbury adds on additional time at the end of the stoppage time. It's flicked through. Everybody stops for a minute. Martinez has to be quickly out. And he's lost it. Well, has he lost it? Or was it kicked out of his hands? No, I think it was kicked out anyway. And therefore it will be either a free kick or an offside.
I think there was a delayed offside in the middle of all of that. We're going to get a potential equaliser at Molineux in the 9th minute of injury time there. Wolves 1, West Ham 2. We're getting word of a potential goal there for Wolves in that game. And just as we say that, the referee, Michael Salisbury, has called time. It's all over then at Villa Park. Aston Villa 3, Brentford 3. Thank you very much for joining us. Myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz and Steve Pearson. Join us again soon.